It's still a mess. I was debating if I would clean it before I would show you the studio tour, but then it wouldn't really be a real representation. Welcome to the studio. I thought it would be time to finally make that studio tour. That is kind of like a have to if you have a YouTube channel and you're making art and art vlogs. So here it finally is. I'm an artist. My name is Roxy. On this channel I share my art progress as a full-time artist, painting, sketching, the business side of things. My main thing are my art studio vlogs. So you've seen this studio probably a lot of times already, or if you're new, go check them out. But in this video I'm just gonna show you all the little nooks and stored things and everything that is in the studio that I'm using to work, because this is my workspace. I'm here from Monday till Friday usually. Sometimes it's a bit different, but I kind of keep a Monday to Friday schedule. I share my studio with one studio mate. Her name is Anouschka. So this side of the studio is mine, and this side of the studio is hers. I'm just gonna show mine. So this is my second atelier. The first one was in the same building. It's this really cool building where there's more creative and more creative businesses around the whole building. And this one is way bigger than my first one. I think this is like 3 times as big. And I definitely grew into this because my paintings grew to be bigger and bigger as well. So I'm really liking it here, and definitely the spot works perfectly from my home. Yes, let's just go to the main area first. So this is my desk area. I spend the most time here. Like, I walk in, put my bag somewhere, get a cup of coffee, and then I go work here and basically see what I need to do that day. I just started using Google Calendar to plan my week. And otherwise I make physical paper plannings, which really work for me. So I go here, I get my chair, and I most of the time start at my laptop. I get my calendar and just see what I have to do, and then often I really try to close it as fast as possible because I don't want to spend my first energy of the day working on my laptop. It's still a mess. I was debating if I would clean it before I would show you the studio tour, but then it wouldn't really be a real representation. So this is still a mess from filming my Patreon tutorials. I teach lessons in art and in sketchbook making and thumbnail sketching, painting, whatever on there if you want to check that out. I need a lot of materials for that because I use a lot of mixed media, so it's basically all over. And I have this little cart over here that helps me a lot with that. It's filled with markers, with ecoline, with oil pastel, pencils. Like, this is just a lot of pencils and like watercolors, tapes, everything that's loose and needs a place to stay. And then on the other side, I standard have my sketchbook laying around here. It's basically always open on what I'm working on at the moment. And this is the one I have now, so it's quite a big one. I also have sketchbook tours videos if you want to check that out. Then I have my lenses over here that are just lying around because I'm using different ones while filming this video. And then I have my paint supply, my acrylic paint supply over here. Then this area is a mess because there's always cables. I never found the right way to organize those, but that's fine, I guess. And then we have a little wall space over here where I put my long-term plannings and also ideas for videos, for paintings, for whatever. And I kind of want to add a inspiration mood board to that because now it's in my sketchbook, but I can't really see it all the time. But also a little ego trip. My FIDA award is here. It's the first time I won an award, and it's also the last time that I won an award. And it's just like it could get a better spot, but you know, it's still cool. I won it for a fashion illustration painting competition, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm just gonna keep it over there. So if you're someone that watches my YouTube vlogs, this is an area you've probably seen a lot already, because this is my general painting area, and it was important for me, especially from the move from the first studio to this one, that it was bigger. Because in my last one I had like a wall and then a desk, and then you couldn't really move to the back. So we changed quite a bit over the years, because we've been here for 3 years already now with me and my studio mate. To kind of like move the furniture around so that it would be the best for us both. And first the desk was horizontal like this, and it didn't really make me be able to move. Like it was nice as the desk was nice and you could move around it, but like the painting, it was kind of obstructing to view it from the back. So in the end we decided on this, and as I work mostly on canvas and on linen, on stretchers, I have these screws on there that I can hang my paintings on, and so they don't move as much. Like I know some people put them on high cans or something, but I think they're moving a little bit too much, and an easel isn't really working for me. I do have one, but I don't use it. I think the newest addition to this studio is this moving table. I used to have this small one, which was also good, but then I upgraded to this one because I was moving and my partner had this one in his kitchen, and so now it's in my studio. And it's filled with all my materials for oil painting. So I have a glass palette, I have my paintbrushes over here that are really dirty and I need to clean. These are all my paints. I kind of tried to organize them in color. I have my oil pastels over here, my glass cleaner, like scrubber, whatever, for my palette. Some spray paints over here, and I use my spray paints for my frames. And then I have like a big supply of linseed oil, and I think this is varnish, some brush cleaners, like it's an alternative for turpentine. And this is an area that is constantly changing, like it's never the same because I move paintings around all the time. If I have a small painting, I usually use the smaller one as well, because then like this is like the ideal sitting height for me. Move it around a lot. I have a window over there which is nice for painting as well. Because as you can see, it's kind of in a weird corner, so I can't really do anything here, but I do need to have access to the window to open it, because when you're working with oil paint, you always need to have fresh air. And so this is kind of like a weird area, but you know, I guess it gives you a little bit more space. And I used to be way better at taking care of my plants. At the moment, I'm not. I think it's because I moved recently, which merged all my plans together with my partners, which are a lot at home. And it kind of made me neglect the ones that are in the studio, but I feel like at some point I need to revive some of them and throw them away, or get some new ones that are actually lively because they look really, really sad and I kind of forget about them, and I also forget about them on purpose. So, you know, that's for another time. Let's move to the storage area. So this is a cart that my dad made actually, and it's on wheels. So it's on wheels, so it moves. I need everything to be moving in my atelier, or to be movable, because the setup changes so much. So this is really good. For example, if I have some big paintings over here and this is way too much, I can just move it to the other side. And this has like a storage of all my older paintings, or all my finished paintings, and also my rolls of linen that still can be used and needs to be stretched. Also paper, some rolls or some tubes for sending artwork or prints or whatever, and it's just really, really nice to have like this organized space, because otherwise I have to either lay them flat or put them in like some corner where they get damaged, and this way they're just here and they don't get damaged at all. So I have a little book area over here. Like this is not a book, but this is my apron for painting. This is a really old like mammal book that I picked up once and I wanted to throw away. And then I have some art books over here. It's Miyazaki, it's Aubrey Birdsley. This is one I picked up in Berlin, and this one is by Katie Heck. And I have another one that's not here because it didn't fit, but I need to find a better place for this. Because they are kind of sad and I don't pick them up as much as I want to. So this is our sitting area. This couch moved around a lot as well. We used to have it on the opposite side of the studio, but it felt kind of closed off, and now it's actually joining the kitchen. It sounds really interesting, but I'll show you in a bit. Like, the kitchen is a total mess and we kind of needed a way to close it off. We picked up this couch, me and my studio mate, actually I think 30-40 minutes walking from here, and we moved it by walking. Was a bit of an adventure, but we did that in the beginning of sharing our studio, and I think that definitely made the whole, like, the ice-breaking thing. Because it was not, I think it was raining too, but you know, worth it. Really cool vintage couch in the studio. I picked up this rug from my parents. I would never put it in my house, but I think it fits the atmosphere here because everything needs to be able to get dirty. So that's totally fine. And the artwork you see behind me is actually by my studio mate here. So she kind of frames the place. And we have another chair on the other side. I picked up this cow couch from one of our neighbors actually. And I just really love this couch. It doesn't really get the attention and love that it deserves in this corner, but I mean, it's a studio, so whatever. And then I have this mirror that's from my friend who emigrated to Australia. And she left it in the studio, and now it has its spot over here. And it kind of masks the shelves that are behind here because we need a lot of storage. So you don't see it as much. The kitchen. Total mess, absolutely not worth it to show. We're gonna move on to something else very fast. But this is where we store our paper. We recycle most of the paper, the stuff that we can use, and this stuff still needs to be cut up into A3 pieces of cardboard so that we can use it to send our prints. And then here's the fridge, here's the coffee, here's more coffee, and there's more storage over here. That is basically stuff that I need to figure out, but I don't feel like it. Some more pots. And then in this one, it's actually really bad because I used to study fashion design, so I gathered like a lot of fabrics, and now they're still here. It's full of fabrics that I couldn't put in other boxes, so kind of a sad area over here. And we're gonna move on to the next one. So what's over here are our metal shelves to store everything that we have. We kind of share the space, so these parts are mine and these parts are Anouschka's. I have my sewing machine over here, or my lock machine. My sewing machine is in the back. Then I have some sketchbooks over here, some empty papers, and then over here I have envelopes and finished sketchbooks. So for example, I get one. I have this finished sketchbook. I think this one is actually in my sketchbook tool, so if you want to go check that out, you can. I have another box over here that stores my mini prints, and these I sell on my web shop occasionally, but I also send them as gifts for my patrons. And I use them sometimes if I send like a print or an original to just write something on it, like a thank you card. And then I have my framing or stretching supplies over here, so a hammer and a stapler, electric stapler. These ones are also supplies to package my prints, this as well, like fragile stickers, and a paper cutter as well. This is another little desk area that we thought would be nice to have. Like, we picked up this desk for free from the reception, so why not, right? But it's quite dark in here. Like, I have my light set up right now because it's super dark. I can just turn it off for a little bit, because then this is what you see. It's not very pretty. I put up a lamp though. This is the light, so not a lot of lights. So no, I don't think it really works this way, but at least like we have a table to put stuff on. Like, I put my keys on here and my headphones and some books that I'm reading. Like, I'm reading this one at the moment. And I have some paintings stored under here as well. And more fabrics. And then let's move on to the last area, because that's where I store my paintings behind me, and also my works on paper. So this is kind of a sad little area where I store all my finished paintings that are on stretchers. It's getting really full at the moment, so I don't have a lot of space left, as there are at the moment like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 10 paintings, and they're big. Like, they're all 1.5 meters high. This one is the tallest, I think it's 160. And then I have a few small ones over here as well. And some empty frames. But this is like a thing I need to figure out, because they're standing on cardboard, so they don't touch the floor when they're standing here. But they are in a tiny, tiny corner, and it's kind of a mess as well. So this is an area you might have seen before as well. This is where I store all my paper drawings and paper paintings. And I picked up this metal like archive closet. I think it's like an architect's or graphic designer closet from someone from Marketplace. And the thing is that heavy that in exchange for me helping her move, she helped me move this thing into the studio, which I think was a pretty good deal. And it's actually from the 80s. It used to be her dad's, and now I use it. So that's great. I mean, I actually want another one because these ones are really full already. And it's where I store my paintings. So it's really, really full. It's also where I store my prints. So in here are prints. I try to kind of have it organized in a way, but it's almost impossible to not have it be a mess, because this is quite organized. But this one is full of live drawings and it's not very organized. Whoop. And then I also have my printer on here. Like, I used to print my own prints, but now I switched to Kisley prints, and I actually have a printer business helping me out and sending them to me. So I don't really use that for this printer anymore, but I do still use it a lot because it's an A3 printer, and it's also a scanner, which is great. So I use it to scan smaller works, and I also use it to print out my miscellaneous stuff or inspirations that I put in my sketchbook, or sketches that I draw on, or even my reference photos, etc. So it still gets used a lot, and it's a great printer actually. So I used to have troubles with it in the past, but there apparently was like a fault in it, and I called with the brand, the Epson brand, about it, and in the end we fixed it. So now it works like a dream. That's really good. This is a pile of sketchbooks, more sketchbooks, dying in sketchbooks, and I have no idea what is here actually. It's just a pile of paper. And then behind it is printing paper and photo paper as well. And that's basically my storage. And then above it we have a painting that I professionally framed, or had professionally framed. And the painting is called Let's Go to Dreamland. And it's still one of my favorites, and I think that's also because I had it professionally framed. She actually is someone that I know. I don't know her in person, but I do know her from Instagram. She's another artist, you should check her out. And yeah, I asked her to make some reference photos during COVID, during quarantine. And she did, she delivered. And so I used this one photo to create this painting of her, and I still really like it. It's kind of in a sad corner over here now, but it's been like exhibited at several places now, and this is where I know it won't be damaged. Alright, so that's it. That was my studio tour. I'm glad that I made this almost mandatory video for my YouTube channel. If you want to check out more of my process and my paintings, so definitely go check out the artist vlogs. I think you'll like them. As always, thanks for my patrons that support the channel. If you want to go check that out, it's in the bio as well. You can learn with me on lessons, monthly art lessons, or just support the channel. And I hope to see you next time. So thank you. Bye bye.